Welcome to the Infrastructure Podcast. My name is Anthony Oliver, and today we're going to take a quick tour of Liverpool's latest landmark, the new Everton Football Club Stadium, which is taking shape in an old dock on the banks of the River Mersey. Having played at their current Goodison Park home since it opened in 1892, I believe, there will be a significant expectation that this new £500 million 52,888-seater stadium will be up to the job. And I hope a venue capable of inspiring the Toffees out of their old doldrums and back up the top of the Premier League. So what does £500 million buy you nowadays when it comes to football stadiums? Well, for a start, Everton reckons its new glass, brick and steel stadium is going to be the most sustainable in the Premier League and set what it describes as an exciting benchmark for stadium architecture, or whatever that is. We'll discuss. But clearly, one of the major elements of the project, helping to accelerate and improve the construction process and set the stadium up for lower operation and maintenance costs, is the use of digital design from day one. This has allowed the contractor Laing O'Rourke to truly embrace modular and off-site construction techniques and, as they say, help save time, energy and carbon. And to be honest, it's an approach that across the global infrastructure sector to date has been something of a pipe dream. So what's made it possible on this project? Well, to find out and to hear more about the stadium's progress, it's my pleasure to welcome Simon Beards, Principal Planner at Laing O'Rourke, the contractor responsible for constructing this new landmark on the Liverpool skyline. Simon is the man who's really been driving forward this the use of digital techniques. So Simon, welcome to the Infrastructure Podcast.
It's great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
So, Simon, I gave a brief overview of the project. Why do you think that this stadium is really setting the standards for modern public sports venues? I mean, ultimately, will it help Everton win more matches?
Well, let's hope so. I can say this being an Everton fan as well. It's been a journey for us all, and to find where they are currently. They did stay up last season, so I'm quite confident they'll stay up this season.
They've been winning matches this season. Yeah. I've checked out. They've been winning matches.
When I started on this project, they were knocking on the door of Europe. So strange things happen in football. Things can ebb and flow.
No pressure, then, Simon. So you are responsible for Everton's return to the top. Great.
Yeah, I'd love to take that on board. Yeah.
How are you getting on there? The latest video update shows you've got the stands up, the roof structures in place. The stadium, it looks like a stadium. There's no pitch there yet. But what other major elements have you still got to do?
We're currently in the process of putting the standing seam roof in, and I was told this week that apparently it was the longest standing seam sheet that's pulled in the UK, possibly Europe. Yeah, the roof is progressing well. The next big thing we're doing as well is the landscaping. That's going to be incredible when they finish that off. But then other key parts, the wind mitigation terrace, as we call it, from a phasing perspective. But we've got this wind terrace which is on the western stand, which kind of feeds into the waterfront there. That'll be because
it's a windy location.
Yeah. Way back when as well. That was they originally had a concept design of that being a car park, but then they evaluated things and then they changed it into this wind terrace. But basically, they will be playing football in January and February when it's not so pleasant weather. So it's to stop people. It's to protect the fans basically, right, for the true fan experience. So they're not getting hit by the weather as they come around the corner. Yeah.
So you're still on schedule to complete in 2024. I presume the club's not going to decamp from Goodison Park until the next 24-25 season. What's the handover plan?
Yeah, our programme commits to the end of 2024, but the handover plan is still in negotiation with the client. So that's something I don't deal with directly. But they haven't finalised that yet. But as the contractor there, we've focused to commit to our programme, which is the end of 24.
But I suppose unlike some other local stadiums nearby, you'll probably have yours finished when you hand it over.
I'd like to think so. Yeah.
Okay. I can't not mention the fact that you did have a tragic death of one of your young workers on site in August. I know you work incredibly hard at Laing O'Rourke to really, and all construction sites, to put safety top of your mind at all time.
Absolutely.
Any death or injury it's appalling for families and friends and colleagues and everyone involved. I suppose, what have you learnt from that as a project?
They've got to say here, that our thoughts will always be with Michael's family. We're truly devastated to experience that. It's something that we hold safety as the highest value, and it shocked us all. It really did shock us all. But yeah,
I suppose from the construction project, it just reinforces the fact that you just have to be on it all the time.
Yeah, indeed, you can't cut any corners or anything like that. It'll stay with us for a long time as well. It's something we would never.
Yeah, no. Well, I can see from where you talk about it now that it's such an important thing. It's such an important part of the construction industry. So good luck with making sure that the whole project and the industry moves forward from it and learns from it. So we're talking today in Singapore at the Bentley Systems Year in Infrastructure celebration, for which you've been shortlisted as a project for the work to embrace digital design throughout the project. I mean, is your approach what you might describe as state-of-the-art in terms of digital delivery?
I'd like to take the opportunity here to commend the team that I work with. They've really embraced the digital agenda. Design, delivery, digital build, fire stopping, you name it. We've really grasped the idea of it all, and it's a journey. There's more things. Being here in Singapore, there's even greater things on the horizon as well, which I can see, and I'm sure our team at Langerock will lead the way.
These are things that you'll be able to embrace as a team at Langerock to take it, the state of the art even further.
Yes,
forward.
Absolutely. That'll be the intention.
Well, as a principal contractor, Langerock set out to implement this so-called 4D design, a digital construction approach to deliver the project on time and within budget. I mean, how did that differ from what you would normally, the way you would normally approach a stadium job? I presume, the world of Gantt charts for you as a planner is long behind you now.
Well, you can tell by the colour of my hair. I've been in the industry for some time now. I've had 23 years. I can remember Gantt charts with string lines and moving it week by week. So to see how it's evolved into a digital arena is fantastic, and what will it look like in another 20 years time? But the great thing now is we're over the 23 years, you've been trying to get people to read Gantt charts can be a bit of a challenge at times. It is for some, it isn't for everybody. But now with this 4D approach, it's very much the picture speaks 1,000 words. So it's really engaged the team.
And you've been using Synchro, which is Bentley's 4D construction modelling tool on the project. I'm sure other tools are available across the industry, but clearly 4D design involves being able to monitor and measure progress, over the time of the project. And you've also been using an immersive visualization room, I think, to virtually construct the project and walk through any problems and challenges with your designers and subcontractors. I mean, why has this been so useful to you as a contractor?
So I'm speaking as a planner here. So there are loads of things on the market. Synchro, it ticks many boxes, but the biggest box it ticks is the planning support it provides. So we've taken the discipline we learn in the planning department at Langerock, and we've processed it into the 4D world, where quite easy skills and disciplines. It's more of a discipline than a skill, I find. And as we're using that, then we've taken this into this immersive workspace, as you say, and that's amplified the focus as well. We get people wanting to come to meetings. Who does that? There's one of the guys quoted, "This is my favourite meeting of the week." I still think he was flirting with me or something like that. But they still come in and continue to do so and add value to the project plan.
Because you can actually virtually work to see the project evolving in front of your eyes.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. And it's so powerful. We've had so many visitors. All the senior people come in that our project director Gareth will say, right, go to week 110 or you name it, and then bang, and it just pops up, and the communication value it brings is unbelievable.
And you get a week 250, and that's Everton there holding the trophy. I digress again.
I get accused of being an optimist myself, but I'm glad I'm in your company.
You say the project trusted Synchro to help meet those project goals and increase communication across the team. I mean, would you describe, how would you describe the 4D process, and the power of the tool? Is it simply all about pictures, or is it about more beyond those pictures?
The real value there is where it's engaging the team, where they add their ideas. If you get the logistics right on any construction project, you generally get things delivered well. So, but by having this, I'll look at a Gantt chart and I'll see lines and logic links and numbers and things like that, whereas other people see something completely different.
Right.
We have the health and safety people come in as well, and they'll say, where am I putting my pedestrian walk path, while this crane's working down here and things like that. So with the high DFMA agenda that we've had here, the whole point of it all, and where it's really has added value, we'll be able to avoid crane clashes.
Right, yeah.
Can cost tens of thousands of pounds.
Well, we'll talk more about the way digital modelling has enabled you to embrace this modern methods of construction. It essentially meant that the elements of the project are built offsite in a factory, and they're assembled on site. Is that where the greatest savings have been today? Just simply being able to organise that in a more efficient way.
We did have a good pre-construction period here, so we went through many different options of how we were going to build it. But while we were doing that, we were preparing the product in the factories. Yeah. So the precast product, the steel, there's a big steel program involved with it as well, and also the DFMA brickwork panels, which relate to the facade works. But before I came out here, I come through stats and figures. I believe that we were 41% of it was prepared before we got going. So that's quite a powerful start. So 70% of it is being delivered, is being built in a factory environment as well. So everything comes through a small gap in the wall.
Which is so rare nowadays on construction, because we are very traditional, and you've had to you've embraced this change, and I imagine everyone on site's embraced this change as well.
Yeah, I think one big thing for me is because the dock location, we were heavily impacted by the weather, especially the wind. So we could have easily gone for with big cranes, and we could have easily gone for the in situ sort of solution, and less wind impact and things like that. But we stuck to it. We maintained our plan and our ambition to do the DFMA strategy, and so far so good. It's paid off.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a bit about you, because you've worked for Laing O'Rourke for the last 20 years. Your job, as I said, is a planner. What is that then? How do you describe your role, and how is it now changing as you're embracing these digital systems?
So I think I can speak for most planners. You're almost like a project manager's right-hand person. They lean on planners very, very well. We keep the strategy. We basically come across some really great people who have amazing ideas. The planner's role in this is just make sure they're on track. They're making sure the deliveries are coming in. That they keep to the time schedule. There's a whole different manner of tasks they bring to the scene.
So while the project manager may have the kind of they are the I suppose they get all the glory, that you are there actually making it all happen for them and making it all lining everything up so they can deliver the projects on time, to budget, and with the minimum carbon.
That's the idea.
Well, in your career, you've worked as a planner on hospital refurbishment, at the Heathrow T2, the nuclear sector. I think you worked in specialist treatment facilities, and in the water sector.
That was brief. Yeah.
What's your career highlights? Is it this Everton? Is this the sort of the pinnacle?
I'd have to say yes here. As an Everton fan, to work on Stadia, it was always been a career highlight for me. But Terminal 2 was a great experience. I didn't really enjoy the hospital. It was a refurbishment because that was close to home, and that meant a lot to me because it was my family's local hospital as well. But then 10 years in the water industry as well, so that was all going all over well. So it's difficult to say no to the Everton is the highlight purely because of my sporting passion. And the special thing about it is it's strongly linked to you. Is that the same with everyone working? Do you have to be a football fan to work on a stadium? Do you have to be an Everton supporter to work on this project? We've got plenty of Liverpool fans on there, mark my words, and they take plenty of credit when we lose. But no, we've had wide-ranging teams. We've got there's a big rugby theme there as well, which I'm part of as well. I think there's a bit of a culture there with the game plan. There's a lot of stuff we've taken from a rugby mindset, but and the gender diversity as well. We've got a massive female engineering part as well. And other functions as well. It's great to see. It's great to see the industry moving forward in all that sort of thing.
52,888 exactly. Is that right? Exactly?
Yes.
Well, that number of seats, presumably there's one with your name on now, is there?
I'd have to speak to the client about that, maybe. Maybe if I knocked it 10 weeks off, maybe they might do that for me.
Well, there you go. There's a challenge. There's a target for you. Let's talk about sustainable construction. Well, the project describes itself as the most sustainable in the Premier League. I mean, before we talk about what you're doing, I mean, how do you measure that?
It's difficult to measure I'd probably have to speak to a team member to get an actual measurable stat for you. I can give you some highlights. The fabricated manner of it, it's all done in factory environments, so the waste management is far less. A key feature as well, that we've got photovoltaic panels on the south stand roof, that we can harness the sun's energy there, and then there's a management around the water as well. So the plan is not to have any other type of resource into the building.
Right.
Rather than,
and there's a lot of concrete, there's a lot of steel and the glass being used to transport. Is it called the Bramley Moor dock site? I mean, you talk about recycling. There's public transport impacts. There's river. I think you use the river to transport the sand to infill the dock. I mean, is that? That's how you would describe sustainable construction, I suppose. It's making sure that you are you're not adding to the waste, and you're minimising the amount of materials you're bringing onto site.
I'd like to think so. That's the key feature of doing it all in a factory. The waste, the labour demand as well. You're not having to do things 2 or 3 times. How many times I've seen that over my career. The quality side of things. That if you're doing things 2 or 3 times the cost, the quality, it solves all that, or aids it certainly.
Particularly as you're talking, you're working in a really harsh environmental. Why would you not do things in a factory if you could? I suppose that's it. Let's talk about modern methods of construction, which is of course what that's all about. And Laing O'Rourke's DFMA, Design for Manufacturing and Assembly process. I mean, what has enabled you to use this technique at Everton? Is it simply down to the fact that you are embracing digital design?
But the processes, the people, I can't, again, as I'll repeat, the people have been great. We've got a really great team who will use these processes, the supply and the demand. We've made sure that everything keeps on time. And the culture's right. We've been empowered to try new technology and new ways of doing things. There's a big push on that.
So where are the big savings then? I mean, obviously making things in a factory means you can do it repeatedly, efficiently, with the minimum of waste. I presume that's one. But where else are the big savings? You'd say?
As a planner, I'm always going to say time.
Right.
Time is money.
Right. Yeah.
So if you get things done right in the same program, usually everything does fall into place.
And if you do it right first time,
yeah,
and then you can repeat it over and over again. And I suppose for the people on site, if they're doing the same process over and over again, they get good at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we'll do that as well. We'll adopt our process where we'll have a kind of trial period where we can get used to doing something, and then we'll take that sort of output and build it into the plan.
Which is amazing that we're not doing it more often, because I know that you've Laing O'Rourke has been trying to really drive forward this process for quite some time. You use a similar technique at Leadenhall Building in London, I think, and there are other contractors that are doing similar things. Mace's got its jump factory process, and they're putting their toes in the water, but it is far from mainstream. We're still doing a lot of stuff on site. We're still doing a lot of in situ. What makes it so difficult to embrace this off-site fabrication?
That's a very difficult question. Sometimes I do feel the construction become quite a humble industry. That if we've got a way of doing something we've been doing for the last 20 years, people keep to the safe option, if you like. It can be a brave decision to make these changes, but I'm sure it doesn't always get it right. But the processes and the to repeat, the people we've got, who they really push it forward.
Now, well, I imagine that certainly everyone's going to be turning to you, Simon, and asking you how to accelerate it. Now you've had such success.
And I'll be passing it straight on, because it's not all me, I promise you that. I just put lines on a piece of paper, and then everyone else makes the magic happen, as they say. But I imagine, as in Laing O'Rourke.
But I suppose when you have a successful project like this, people start start taking notice?
Why I'm in Singapore is part of the presentation that I provided is we've had a massive amount of attention, and people are looking at seeing that it does work, because stadiums can be quite difficult to build, and never mind that we've done it on the side of a dock and had to fill it in with 400,000 metres cube of sand.
Yeah.
So they've obviously taken note and think, that actually does work. We did a really successful DFMA project in South Wales as well, a hospital down there. So the change is happening now. That people does see it does actually work, and they're changing this mindset where let's just do it the way we've always have done, and people can see it working. And keeping to plan.
But also you're demonstrating that you can deliver a quality product, because I suppose there used to be a mindset that prefabricated stuff was going to be a low quality product, but it's actually high quality you're delivering.
Again, the heritage requirements where there was a demand to have brick built sort of facade. We did a big plan on this to understand how many brickies would need to do this, and there wasn't enough in the country, basically. Right. So we encouraged the decision to do it in the factory, where we prepared all these panels and then lifted them by crane. And you would never know, the quality is second to none. Yeah. And obviously there was a big vetting process to approve all that. But when you see it, a lot of them are in now, so next time you have a look.
But I suppose also the roof structure, you mentioned the fact on the roof there's all the photovoltaics. Presumably those are all produced and delivered to site, ready to be put into position.
They will be. That they don't come until next year. They're busy starting this. They've only just started the standing seam on the north roof. The south roof's about to start, with the photovoltaic panels, and I think they're due. Well, I won't give them too much away, around about May next year.
Fine. Okay. We do talk a lot right now about the way data, digital twins and digital technology is ready to transform the industry. From the coalface, are we overplaying that hand?
Well, the people provide the data, and then it's what you do with it, really. Again, I mentioned briefly before about the reporting side of it. We're doing all sorts of automated reports now as well. We've got some great guys preparing that now. What's made me aware that there's other ways to do this as well, the stuff that Bentley provide as well, so it's which route you choose, but you can say that there's a lot of good work being done on this side already.
But of course, have you had to upskill your own team to embrace this?
As you say, Langerock have a digital and data academy, so they roll out cohorts now where they put people through this because they understand the power it provides. So there's a few people have excelled on that already and brought it back to the project, and it's the next generation of planning and project controls and ultimately project management.
Okay. Well, finally then, we've talked about the great successes you're having at Everton, embracing digital from day one. Now that you are the guru.
Sorry, I don't take myself too serious, I'm afraid.
Okay, but what advice you've had success here? You've made it happen where other people have been struggling to get this all 4D going and really embracing it. What advice would you give other contractors, asset owners, to try to who are looking to try to follow this example?
Best thing I would say to anyone: just give it a go, give it a try. You will come across obstacles. But you don't fall at the first hurdle, do you? You get up and power through. So we can find an excuse to do anything, But try and look for a reason to do something, and it'll change everything.
Right.
It does work, and just give it a go.
So how do you know about doing all this stuff around? Have you had lots of training in this?
I had a day's training.
Right.
Day's training. But then I just saw the value in it. And I thought, no, this will work. So I just taught myself.
You taught yourself?
Well, I've had a few pointers off the Bentley guys. Yeah. But basically, I'd find a way to do it. Use the planning discipline, and then I'd find a way of doing it.
Oh, right, good. No. And I suppose the fact is that these systems are so they're intuitive that you can actually find your way through it now. Yeah.
And that's what I meant by just give it a go.
Yeah.
Half the battle is just wanting to do it. Yeah. If you don't want to do it, it'll never work. Yeah. That's why I said about the hurdle thing. I can't get out the door, it's locked. Well, unlock it then. Yeah. That sort of thing. It's that sort of mindset. But if you want to make it work, you'll make it work.
Great. You're living proof of the fact that, if you give it a go and you overcome, I suppose there must have been a lot of people saying, let's just do it the normal way.
Yeah.
You can plough through it and get on with it.
Yeah.
Great stuff, Simon. A fascinating project, and thanks so much for taking time to join me today on the Infrastructure Podcast to explain what's going on and how you're getting on up there in Liverpool. And good luck with it all. I hope it does deliver the kind of stadium that's transformed not only the local area but Everton's performance as well. So
well, let's hope so. Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you very much.
Great. Look, that's all we've got time for today, but we're going to have more from the Infrastructure Podcast in the pipeline and more guests to talk to as we continue to probe some of the big issues faced across the sector. If you haven't done so already, do check out the Infrastructure Podcast website. That's www.infrastructure-podcast.com, where you'll find lots of background information to this podcast, and I'll put some links to all that's going on at Everton, but also all the latest podcasts to listen to and to share with your colleagues. So thanks for joining us. Thanks again to Simon for sharing his experience at Everton, and I look forward to seeing you all again very soon.